I just wanted to show you a little bit of how wild the garden has gotten without any care. I have some tumbled over tomato plants right at the entrance. Here we have a couple of beans. That is the Blue Lake pole bean, and that one has been a strong contender to the best bean I've ever grown. It's just a green bean. I mean, it's a wonderful green bean, but I'm a big fan of colorful greens, colorful food, colorful variations of things that we know with other colors. And well, this one is just green, but it's endured the heat, the drought. It's been very, very prolific, and I highly recommend it. Here I have my arroz con pollo, which has just made this tiny, tiny peppers. It's probably because it's competing for space with this Turkish orange eggplant. We have some ripening right now. And what was intended to be my bean trellis is now completely taken over by my emerald evergreen and my weeping Charlie tomatoes. And over here we have a cuckoosie gourd, which is looking wild, but it hasn't really made any fruit. It has some little crooked ones, but it hasn't made anything substantial. So I'm just letting it be. Here we have a wild little, this is one nasturtium plant, and it's just full of beautiful flowers. Look at that. It's a huge thing for just one plant. It's also here. Look at that. And here I have my cucamelon wall now. That is also one tiny squirt of a plant. Well, what used to be a tiny squirt of a plant, and now it's just monstrous and beautiful at the same time. Here my melons and my cucumbers pretty much died. Here I have another Turkish orange eggplant, and that is a bunch of little beautiful eggplants. A lot of my tomatoes have thrown in the towel. The cherry wall is still looking pretty strong. I have a little Thornburns terracotta that it hasn't been here for too long, but it already has this beautiful, beautiful tomato. Come on. Yes. Isn't that lovely? And over here, it's almost bare now. We're doing a little... The grass needs a little mowing, so we're tending to that. Look at that wild, wild grass. We had to do something about it. My beautiful Autumn Beauty sunflowers look a little worse for wear, but they've made some beautiful, very, very stunning sunflowers. Here I have another tomato wall, which has some crazy, crazy tomatoes. That one is the Aunt Ruby's German green, and this one is the Chernobyl tomato. Yep. Over here I still have a living Paul Robson, a Wapsipinicon peach, And back there we have my favorite, the black pineapple. And here is what used to be our compost pile. And it has turned, I believe this might be a Malabar gourd, like the same kind of gourd that I have growing on the parking lot since October last year. And it's just taking over everything. It's just going wild. I would definitely recommend you start your own compost pile because your life will be full of nutritious soil and surprises. And over here we have my little flower log. It already has some straw flowers in there, a little zinnia, and here, down here, we have the Johnny Jump Up viola, which has just gone crazy. That is just one plant. There's one plant right here, and I have another little one back there. That flower belongs to that plant. But this one, all of this is just the same plant. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love violas. And over here I have a Nepal and a white cherry tomato that have just toppled over. I'm not really sure what to do about this other than harvest. Here we have some baby eggplants. This is a red spike amaranth. Here I have a scarlet kale that has endured even a very, very forceful harvest. And it's producing little, I don't know, are these like suckers? Are these clones? I'm not sure, but it has a bunch of new growths on its tiny armpits. Oh, and here, I was so excited to show you this. Here's my first pepper. This is a long, slim, hot cayenne pepper. And I didn't think it would do too well, but oh my goodness, I can't believe I have such a beautiful pepper on such a tiny, tiny plant. It's just lovely. This is gonna blush to a bright red, and then it will be ready for harvest. Here I have what I believe are a couple of scarlet kales. Let's see how they do. I am still allowed to come and harvest from this garden for a couple of months. This is my holy basil, and I have some Swiss chard back there. And this is a red garnet amaranth that fell over, but it's still alive, pretty much alive. And this humongous nasturtium bush is also just one plant. And it's contained in one of those tiny pots. This plant, yes. It's just gone crazy. And that's pretty much everything that's left of the garden. I still have this golden zucchini fighting the fight. It has some powdery mildew, but it's still growing and making little zooks. Oh no, I have a pest. What is that? I hadn't seen this before. Well, it's very hard to take care of pests and be aware of what is going on in a garden where you don't live anymore. So, shucks. And to end on a brighter note, here's my gigantic, apparently perennial scarlet kale. Look at that. That is a beautiful, very prolific, very heat tolerant, not bitter at all plant. 10 out of 10 recommend growing.